Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tuesday, Team Training Tuesday. I also call it Applied Neolife. And for the men and the fathers on the call, you probably know that the coming Sunday is designated as Father's Day. So I just thought I'll do this one for the men and women, everybody. A slant on hormones in men. It is by no means totally exhaustive because it's a huge topic. But what I wanted to do was to connect some dots between lifestyle and health outcomes. And I hope it will stimulate a lot of thought and a lot of discussion. My name is Ese Zanambasi. I'm a medical doctor by training. I'm very, very passionate about health, and I'm particularly passionate about men's health. I have a slogan which goes, with healthier men, we can have healthier nations. And obviously families form nations. So let us look at a few near-life solutions and see how to apply them. And we want to talk about testosterone, which is the primary sex hormone in men. Right, its importance. It's important, obviously, for the development of male reproductive tissues. And those are the testes and the prostate. It's also super important in, let me just stop this video. Okay. It's also important in growth to develop those characteristics, secondary sexual characteristics, such as increased muscle and bone mass, the male fat distribution, and I really emphasize that male fat distribution, growth of hair, and deepening of voice. And as life goes on, it regulates libido, and it also has a role in sperm production and the blood system. Now, testosterone has a very low bioavailability when taken orally. That is crucial. If you take it as a hormone orally, it doesn't do very much. So one has to have the tools on board to actually make it. It is transported around the body by a protein, and it is metabolized by the liver. It is excreted in urine, largely, and stool. And the main metabolite or the byproduct of it is there. It's called DHT, dihydrotestosterone. And that metabolite, if it is not excreted and it hangs around in the body, can pose a problem as well. Let's look at estradiol, which is an estrogen. A small amount of circulating testosterone is actually converted to that estrogen, estradiol. And it is especially crucial for men, for male sexuality, to stay balanced with the testosterone. And it is also important in all those functions, sperm production, libido, and to have an erection as well. And decline in testosterone leads to decline in estradiol. So there has to be that balance. And that's why I've put that picture to show that both hormones are necessary for both. That's the astounding thing. Anyway, too much estrogen in men, we are unfortunately seeing that, can lead to all those complications or characteristics such as infertility, gynecomastia, what we call the growth of boobs or breasts in men, and all those things that you see on the slide. So note them and see whether either you have observed or you know somebody with whom they are happening so that perhaps you can offer solutions that we'll discuss. So it is said that men peak at about the age of 19, and thereafter, unfortunately, that is their peak. There has to be a plan to maintain for several years thereafter, because at 19, they're not even ready to start families yet. Let's discuss the decline in testosterone. Low testosterone is known as hypogonadism. And that's when it happens when it is less than 300 nanograms per deciliter for men. And in women, as we agreed, we need a bit of testosterone as well. It is when it is much lower. As men reach their mid-40s, blood levels of measurable testosterone may drop by 1 to 2% annually, and thereafter it may accelerate. After age of 60, the level drops more rapidly, as I've just said. So physical and psychological effects can be devastating, such as depression, loss of muscle mass that we call sarcopenia, low libido, hair loss, and insulin resistance. We have discussed insulin resistance on a few occasions, but here's another situation where it is observed. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about our tendency as society to look for a quick fix when things are beginning to go wrong. And I just want to say we should avoid that temptation, because testosterone has become the new quick fix and the new rage. A lot of people are looking for ways to replace testosterone. And that might sound attractive. However, unless the body's innate ability to produce testosterone naturally is activated, there is a very real possibility of serious side effects, and those would have to be dealt with. And we don't want that. And that is the reason for this caution. So, ladies and gentlemen, particularly the gentlemen, we need to adopt a different viewpoint, a different mindset, because life will only change when you become more committed to your dreams than you are to your comfort zone. Back to testosterone replacement therapy. What are the possible serious adverse effects? Now, if the underlying and modifiable factors causing deficiency are not addressed first, that therapy sets up the following vicious cycle. Testosterone replacement therapy necessitates higher than normal physiological dose of a synthetic form of testosterone. And that has increased adverse effects, such as the very possibility of creating cancers. Also, testosterone replacement therapy sends a message to the organs from which testosterone is created. Reduce, not to increase, but to reduce production. And this will lead to the deficiency of the naturally produced testosterone, leading to, in other words, the testicles begin to shrink. Then, testosterone replacement therapy causes a sudden increase in the metabolite that we talked about, DHT, and it will lead to more estradiol being made, thus upsetting a very delicate balance. So let us ask ourselves, how can the body best be supported? One, remove testosterone blocking chemicals and then support the ability to produce more testosterone naturally. Now, you must be wondering, what are the blockers? Okay, beware of these testosterone blockers. such as bisphenol, which is found in plastics, canned foods, printer ink. Oh, wow. And it is widespread in modern lifestyle. It is all around us. Phthalates, also in plastics, and it is found in pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and detergents. Detergents, all right? And then parabens, which are petrochemical in nature, those that are petrochemical. Granted, there might be some that are parabens that are sourced naturally, but there are also those from the petrochemical industry. And these are widespread in personal care and cosmetics. And then you have glyphosate. That is an agricultural chemical. It is used as a weed killer and also a pre-harvest desiccant. And even after that, it can be used to spray on grain foods such as rice to keep them desiccated, right, to dry. And this is widespread in the environment. And then among medications, one that is very commonly used, prescribed for control of cholesterol, statins. It's important to know that there are natural ways of lowering harmful lipids without resorting to potentially harmful drugs. That's just all portion. So now, let us look at the importance of nutrition, because several years ago, this gentleman was born around about 460 BC. So that's a long, long time ago in ancient Greece. He said, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine thy food." So here's some news you can use. And I'm just building it up to make a case for good natural food and the need for supplementation. Okay, some news you can use. Nitric oxide is a gas that keeps the endothelium healthy. We're just going to describe what the endothelium is. Just some history. There were 3 scientists in 1998 who were awarded a Nobel Prize for their research on nitric oxide. Now, I hope, gentlemen, you've heard about nitric oxide. If you haven't, well, listen up. It is a fragile and it lasts a very short time. It's actually a gas, all right? Very fragile, lasts a short time, but it is important to, as a result of that, to ensure a consistent supply of nitric oxide. It is made also within us by the endothelium. The endothelium is that layer of cells that lines the entire blood circulation channels, okay? So I'm going to describe it again soon. But in the endothelium, it is made from an amino acid called L-arginine, and it is also supplied from healthy foods that are rich in nitrate, and we shall see what they are. So the endothelium, as I was saying, is a layer of cells that lines all our blood vessels. It is therefore the largest organ in the body, inside the body. When spread out, it may cover the area of 2 football fields. It's that big. We always say the skin is the largest organ, but that is the one on top of the body. Inside the body, you have an even larger one called the endothelium. It is very important for health because it controls blood flow throughout the body and ensures supply of nutrients and fresh oxygen to all organs. And particularly when you're thinking about it, the mitochondria. The mitochondria, that is where the inside cells, there are thousands and billions of them, food and air are processed to make energy. So when we think at that kind of level, isn't it fascinating how fearfully and wonderfully we are made? So we can conclude that poor blood flow leading to low oxygen are all signs of sluggish endothelium. And symptoms and signs may include aches and pains in joints and muscles, may include increasing blood pressure and cholesterol levels. It may manifest as, for example, declining vision or loss of libido. So, it's always a natural thing to say we are growing old, which we are. But what can we do? What can you do to take charge of your overall health? And that's the gist of this conversation. So let's focus a little bit more on key nutrients that are required and why in this family called the Neolife family, which gives us spectacular supplements, why supplementation with whole food supplements is important today. And so you have to be very careful and very clear what supplements you choose to use. So before I go there, here's a quick question. Does your current diet include these foods, such as avocados, berries, grapes, pomegranates, cocoa, coffee, dark leafy vegetables, which are a good source of nitric oxide, eggs, fatty fish? Yeah, just think carefully. And as you're thinking, I would like to introduce to you the Scientific Advisory Board of Neolife. This is a group of scientists that have made it their mission to provide us with scientific proof that nutrition is actually very, very important, and it should be foundational to our health. It was founded by Dr. Arthur First. He was a top toxicologist and a top pharmacologist and a cancer researcher. He came to Neolife years after Neolife had already been founded. He arrived in the 70s and founded this board. Neolife had been going since 1958. And the scientists are all specialists in their fields, and we are very proud to have them as one of our differences in this company. And what they tell us is that it is very, very important to nourish at a cellular level. The cell membrane is, we're made out of billions of cells, over 70 trillion cells. And it is at the level of the cell membrane that nutrition should be happening. In other words, whether we get the nutrients into the cells so that they can access the mitochondria. And the first thing to know is that it has to have the right composition. So there's a component in there which is known to decrease cortisol levels, that is a stress hormone, and therefore it is very important to have phosphatidylserine to manage stress. Many people may not have it, and that is why we are giving you this presentation. And also, that product increases testosterone levels following its use and in the presence of moderate physical activity. This is on athletes. So let's just describe Neolife's take on cellular nutrition. Your cells are hungry, so feed them. This product provides that component so that the cell membrane is made well with the right structure so that nutrients can go in and waste matter can go out. So let's just talk about a few supplements or other things that are important in this before we open up for discussion. Zinc. Zinc is so crucial for male health as it is for female health. But let me give you some compelling reasons why. Zinc is easily depleted by physical activity, resulting in low testosterone and thyroid hormones. Zinc also is known to improve erectile function. Zinc protects against toxicity by heavy metals such as cadmium, and that heavy metal has been shown to be associated with the development of high blood pressure. Too much zinc can cause copper deficiency and vice versa. In other words, minerals tend to work in synergy, in a matrix, and they are interconnected and interdependent. So we have amino acid chelated zinc for improved absorption, and it is a very important supplement. The other one is vitamin C. It is important for male physiology. As an antioxidant, it may be able to regenerate testosterone and to reduce levels of toxic hormone, the toxic hormone DHT that we've discussed. It's important for function of adrenal glands. That's where stress hormones and other hormones, many hormones are made there. And therefore, it is important in the body's ability to manage stress. It is also very important in sperm creation and for healthy sperm. So that's what our vitamin C looks like. And then we have saw palmetto, which we find in a product that I'll show you just now. Saw palmetto is a plant with small berries that has been used for hundreds of years by many communities for various male health challenges. It is effective against, for example, hair loss, prostate enlargement, bladder infections, and low libido. It is fat soluble and most effective when used with carotenoids, which I will show you as well. So how it works, natural ways to increase testosterone. Saw palmetto has a natural enzyme, and that's how it works. You'll read the names later on. These stop the breakdown of testosterone into its byproducts so that there are higher levels of the hormone. This is beneficial for slowing and reversing effects on the prostate of its tendency to enlarge. So it is important. It works well with carotenoid complex, and it is found in masculine herbal. I hope everybody listen to it again, but these are the key nutrients and supplements for men. So in summary, saw palmetto, found in masculine herbal, boosts libido, boosts sperm production, and it also helps with maturation of ova in women, therefore very important for fertility. It increases both male and female fertility by affecting the balance of free testosterone in the body, and it enhances hair growth, and it is very important to maintain a healthy liver at all times. Right, so another one. When we talk again about the endothelium and the fact that oxygen has to be transported, it is important to make sure that you have sufficient amounts of vitamin E. Very important. And then another one is magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzyme pathways. It is important in the anabolic function of testosterone. In other words, it's important in muscle building and bone building. This is particularly important as men grow older, but we've agreed that it's important to begin early rather than waiting for situations to arise later on. Magnesium is also important to increase the bioavailability of testosterone, hopefully made naturally in the body. It is thought to inhibit the binding to a globulin, a protein component, so that it becomes available. So that's what our magnesium looks like. And just a little word here. Let's never stop learning because life never stops teaching. Research was done on magnesium deficiency, and the conclusion to that research was that lower serum magnesium levels may be conducive to the development of total testosterone deficiency, arterial hypertension, diabetes, and therefore the metabolic syndrome. There's somebody who's drawing on my board. Kindly stop. Okay. Gosh, I've gone. Sorry. Kindly don't draw on the board. Just disrupts everything. Right. Let's talk about some chronic lifestyle diseases. This is just to sum it all up before we finish off. The chronic lifestyle diseases that we commonly see are cardiovascular diseases, chronic respiratory diseases, diabetes, various cancers, and various neurological disorders. It is well known that our diet is important. You are what you eat, they say, and 75% of all chronic diseases are preventable. And in order to keep the endothelium and the liver healthy, we need a lot of the right nutrients. We have more of them. You will look at this as we go on, but some people have heard of flavonoid complex. We have it too. We have lipotropic adjunct, which is very important in keeping the blood vessels clean. And as we wind up, important to modify your lifestyle. Stop smoking. Don't drink too much alcohol. Balanced diet full of fresh fruits, vegetables as well, green leafy vegetables. Those will increase the nitric oxide, which is in the endothelium. Manage your weight. Exercise is important also for testosterone production. Manage stress. And we talk about supplementation with good quality whole food supplements that this family offers. And just as we often talk about the concept of core nutrition, here is a picture of the core nutrition, which gives us all 22 amino acids and supplements in threonine, omega-3, carotenoid complex that we've talked about that works well with masculine herbal, and a multivitamin and a multimineral tablet. Finally, I think I'm coming to an end. CoQ10, for those who really want to fine-tune their health, is also available. That is mitochondrial energy complex. We've discussed the mitochondria and their importance. Those are the ones that produce energy in our bodies, within the cells. It will support heart health and cellular energy. Now, just be aware of the effect of inflammation, in other words, irritating toxins, stress levels, all sorts of things around us. We need to take control by making sure that things are on board. One of the biggest inflammatory component in our lifestyle is sugar. And that's why people are developing diabetes. We have this product called Botanical Balance, which promotes blood glucose balance and therefore lowers inflammation. Detoxification is important. That's a quick picture to show regular detoxing. And I just thought this quote was so important because I'll tell you why when you see the next slide. A wise woman knows the importance of speaking life into her man. If you love him, believe in him, encourage him, and be his peace, and therefore make sure that your home and personal care products are conducive to peace. Because we know that a lot of times men's estrogen levels or rather hormonal health is totally shaken up and disturbed by the detergents we use. Now, gentlemen, take me seriously on this one. We can be very confident that our washing powder does not contain those hormone disrupting chemicals or endocrine disrupting chemicals. And now you can actually get your whole family to start early on these non-toxic, 100% biodegradable cleaning products so that you can avoid changes to your hormones and you can have a healthy testosterone production in your body. So that is my presentation for today for men. Real men stay faithful. They don't have time to look for another woman because they're too busy looking for new ways to love their own. And this will help you to manage stress. Another one of our products that you can look up and make sure that you continue to eat well, eat natural, get as much nitric oxide into your body as you can so that you can discover possibilities, which we have. On another occasion, you will hear a lot more about the actual opportunity. Thank you very much. Let's stop sharing and we shall have a discussion for those who are open to it.